2024 F1 season is less than a month away, and drivers and fans alike are excited to see what their respective teams have been spewing up over the winter break. Many teams have also begun teasing their new cars, with McLaren being the first to reveal their whole livery for the season and hyping up their performance for this year. Furthermore, drivers have also returned to the factories and are back on the simulators, honing their skills and understanding the new car better. The question everyone is asking is whether or not the hype will live up to the expectations being set. Well, it seems Mercedes has answered that question, for their fans at least. Mercedes made very slow progress during the 2023 season, and only after ditching their zero-pod design were they able to see actual gains on track. They were nowhere near Red Bull, and both drivers complained about the car's drivability. It was clear that a lot of work had to be done over the winter break to squeeze as much performance out of the car as possible, and perhaps attempt to regain their lost glory. The team has opted to change their approach towards the car this season in an attempt to close the gap to Red Bull, and in doing so has seen hopeful results, according to team principal and CEO Toto Wolff. He talked about the performance gains in an interview with The Telegraph, where he talked about a conversation he had with Mercedes' simulator driver Anthony Davidson. He was driving Melbourne in the sim, and he said, "The car feels like a car for the first time in 2 years." But Wolff refrained from making any bold assumptions about the car and did not reveal much more about the exact numbers and figures. Instead, he stated that the team wants to maintain an optimistic view regarding their performance and whether or not they will return to the top step of the podium, hoping that if not this year, then by next year they can fight for the championship again. "Always believe it's possible," Wolff said. "You cannot start the season with an attitude of, 'This is not going to be possible.' We saw last year with McLaren what a huge step they made with a single upgrade. We've signed a 2-year deal with Lewis Hamilton, and we owe it to him, to George Russell, and to all the team to give it our full attention in 2024 and 2025. I think it's possible." Before this, after the end of the 2023 season, Wolff spoke with the media regarding what they are trying to achieve this season. Instead of building upon the W15, they want to change every little thing in the car and come up with a design from the ground up. Though they were still not sure how the changes would work out in the end, as something so radical could easily go south, but their efforts to climb back on top of the leaderboard stumps any fear, and the decision was made to have something new on track in 2024. "We are changing the concept," said Wolff. "We are completely moving away from how we laid out the chassis, the weight distribution, the airflow. I mean, literally, there's almost every component that's being changed, because only by doing that, I think we have a chance. We could get it wrong also, so between not gaining what we expect, catching up and making a big step and competing in the front, everything is possible." From Davidson's statement, though, it seems the efforts have finally paid off for the team. It was clear from the start of the 2022 season just how well engineered the Red Bull Challenger was, and they have just increased the gap in 2023. Hence, it may not come as a surprise that the new parts are similar to those fitted on last year's Red Bull. Whether or not the team is aiming to be more Red Bull-like, only time will tell, but the team still believes there is more performance to be found. The team also stated that they have tried to use only minimal components from the previous car, and that most of the newer car will use newly built hardware. The main issue the team struggled with in 2022 and also consequently in 2023 was their floor and side pod design, as they could not hit the sweet spot in regard to the distance between the car and the ground. They suffered immense porpoising, which caused the car to bounce on straights early on in 2022, and they had to drop their side pod design and adopt a more conventional design during the 2023 season. All teams want to run the car as low to the ground as possible, but there are immense difficulties in implementing this due to strict rules by the FIA and the different road surfaces found at all the different tracks. In fact, Mercedes suffered a disqualification from P2 last year as the car violated these rules after a post-race inspection, along with Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. Speaking to motorsport.com, tech boss James Allison stated that most teams might choose to follow the Red Bull's lead in the design of the car. We saw this last year as well, with Aston Martin adopting a car that very much resembled the 2022 Red Bull contender. However, Allison also stated there is still room for innovation, especially underneath the car. "I think most people will be iterating down a similar sort of avenue," he said, as per motorsport.com. "But that doesn't mean that there isn't room for innovation at all. These cars, and it is no secret, run super near the ground, and that's where they get their best performance. But there is also the ground there, so it is just trying to figure out how you can reliably, precisely, and in an informed way place the car at a point above the ground that you know will be survivable from a skid legality point of view, but will also give you every bit of downforce that the car is capable of offering. There is plenty of action there still." He is optimistic that there is time to be found on the track that goes beyond what the Red Bull of last year was able to achieve, and that the goal of any team on track would be to gain that advantage over everyone else. Going into the nitty-gritty part of the process, the team's chief operating officer, Rob Thomas, recently lifted the curtains as to what is happening behind the scenes. The company is set to launch its new car on the 14th of February, before the pre-season testing in Bahrain, and all hands are on deck, with work being done 24/7 to ensure the car is ready for the big day. There are literally thousands and thousands of components arriving, going through inspection and levels of testing, Thomas told Mercedes' official website. Then they're built into various sub-assemblies for the test and development department, who'll put them through tests for fatigue, reliability, and performance. It's a really intense time for people in the factory because these departments are operating on shift patterns 24/7. People show huge levels of commitment. There's so much going on, and everything must come together for these deadlines. Whatever happens at the back end, it is clear that the company has not taken this season lightly, especially as they expect also to be fighting with McLaren and Ferrari to be the first to close the gap to Red Bull. Pre-season testing for Bahrain is only a few weeks away, from the 21st to the 23rd of February, and these are the only 3 days the team will get to test their new cars before hitting the track for the Bahrain Grand Prix on the 29th of February. As the 2024 Formula One season approaches, the anticipation surrounding Mercedes' performance is intense. The team managed to improve their performance from 2022 to 2023, and hopefully we can say the same this year as well. Team principal Toto Wolff's cautious optimism, coupled with simulator driver Anthony Davidson's positive feedback, hints at a potential turnaround for the Silver Arrows this season, and they may get a chance to wear their crown again. The upcoming car launch on Valentine's Day will unveil the relentless efforts of the Mercedes team, and all eyes will be on their performance during the crucial pre-season testing in Bahrain. The quest to close the gap to Red Bull and contend with rivals McLaren and Ferrari adds an extra layer of excitement to the unfolding narrative. As the new season draws near, Formula One enthusiasts eagerly await the unveiling of Mercedes' revitalized contender and the on-track battles that will ensue, setting the stage for what promises to be a thrilling 2024 campaign. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more F1 news to stay on top of all that happens behind the scenes.